What am I gonna eat? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Leveling Up with CMH. Right, a question that I get quite often that I want to talk to you guys about today is, what do I do if I'm traveling, and how do I stay consistent with both my diet plans, everything that I'm doing, right? All my habits, all the things I'm working so hard to build up. What do I do to make sure that when I get home, I'm not completely derailed, right? And that includes your work environment too. So we're gonna talk about all of those things and more in this video, so make sure to stick around. Before I go any further though, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, as well as my interviews on Entrepreneur Hour TV and everything else we do on this channel, which I think you're gonna find amazing if you are an entrepreneur looking for scale and growth. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing I would recommend is this. You see what's behind me? You see what's here? Kitchen, right? So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go find just the cheapest hotel they can find. Well, here's the deal, guys. It's the whole adage of you pay now or you pay later. So the problem is that sure, you might save some money on the hotel, but think about how many times you're gonna eat out, right? And think about the gas you're gonna have to spend driving to and from 3, 4, maybe even 5 times a day just to go get meals, not to mention the cost of a meal. And for all intents and purposes, what you may find is some places have healthier options when you eat out than others. You might have a Chipotle, a Panera, something like that, where you actually can acquire a healthy meal. But what if that town that you're traveling to doesn't have those, or your hotel's too far away from those places? You may find yourself ordering with DoorDash or Grubhub or something like that, or having a pizza delivered. Not ideal, right? So what I like to do, and what we like to do, my wife and I both, my wife and business partner and I, we like to find like an Airbnb that has a full kitchen. Now, sure, it might cost $30 to $40 more per night, but what did I just say? Gas, travel, meals. Let's assume the average meal costs $10. Healthy meal is gonna cost you $10. 3, 4 meals a day, there's your 30, 40 bucks, not counting gas, right? So I think you're going to, in the end, pay about the same to just go ahead and spend a little bit more on the Airbnb. And in some cases, what I found is sometimes with a full kitchen, it's comparable, if not less, than what a hotel costs. Think about with a hotel, you're paying for their overhead, you're paying for their staff, you're paying for the pool, you're paying for all those things, whether you realize or not. Those are built into their costs, right? And so you're paying for things that you may or may not actually be using. So I think best bang for buck is to, first and foremost, find something like an Airbnb. Okay, so let's talk about next. This is something I like to do. I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth out of the screen because I have a lot of stuff to show you guys. But one of the things that I like to do is this. I like to bring a travel bag that's specifically for health related stuff, okay? Why is that? So I can pack, these are my supplements, right? This is my glutamine. This is my gut health stuff. I have probiotics. I can pack these, right? I can pack little things like my sunflower butter. I can pack seaweed snacks. I can pack some cassava flour chips, macadamia nuts, right? So I can pack even some seasonings for meat, right? Some people want to buy something, but they don't have anything to season it with. So you've got this, you've got salt, pepper, you've got stevia. I packed bulletproof coffee. All of this fit in my health bag. Now, I drove this trip, right? So bringing something like my big old collagen protein powder doesn't make sense on the flight, right? On an airplane. And maybe you can pack this, but some things, don't work out. Like this is, this, for example, is a liquid. So obviously, I can't travel with this whole thing. They're going to throw it out. It's going to be the most expensive bottle of trash that the airport has ever seen, right? This is like $62 a bottle. So what we like to do is find ways to do out the portion sizes, right? So I'll get a Ziploc bag of this, and I'll just portion out whatever I need for that specific trip. However long that trip's going to be, just portion out whatever's going to be for that kind of daily intake. All right, same thing with this. I'll get a glass jar. I'll probably put it in a Ziploc bag as well. So put it in the jar and then inside the bag. And that way if it leaks, same with this. Same with bulletproof. I actually recommend the travel packages of this. They come in little plastic packages. This thing leaks. You can actually see around the edges. It leaked even driving. So imagine flight where you have cabin pressure changing. So I recommend the travel packages. They're not ideal. They're a little bit more expensive. But if you like bulletproof coffee, if you want to get your healthy fats, MCTs, definitely a good opportunity to go and take advantage of that. But here's the point. So I like to travel with all these things because these are my basic core items, right? These are the things that I need every day to operate the way that I do at home. The key with travel is to replicate as much as you possibly can that you do at home, right? So you want to keep things consistent as possible. We talked about habits, right? What I like to do is maintain, I believe in success habits. I think willpower and discipline are overrated. I talk about that in many of my videos. The reason I think that is because if you study high achievers, one of the biggest things they understand is success habits. Their success comes from their ability to build habits that are conducive to success. They don't have more willpower discipline than what you have. But here's the deal. When you're traveling, you're changing your environment, right? We know that the average time to build a habit is 66 days. So when you break that cycle, right, now you're having to go back and try to readapt or pick up that habit you were trying to build, one of those success habits. So the one thing you want to do is try to replicate your environment at home as much as possible. By me having my basics, my supplements, my protein powders, whatever the case may be, these are all things that I consume every single day at home. So I'm going to replicate that as closely as possible. Having a kitchen, having my basic core items, those are things that I love to do. One more quick note on that is stuff like my macadamia nuts. Guys, this is a fantastic snack, right? This is super high in healthy, good fats, super high in a lot of things that you'll need. 230 calories per serving, right? So I don't like meal replacement. I don't like to just have snacks as a meal replacement. But if you're traveling and you're driving down the highway or you're in the middle of the airport somewhere and you catch those aromas or you see that, Taco Bell sign, you're going to be tempted, right? You're going to be tempted. And so I like to have stuff like that, snacks, seaweed snacks, things that if I'm getting hungry, I'm not going to be tempted. We lose that dexterity we have. We lose that strength we have to stay away from unhealthy foods when we get hungry, right? And that's when you kind of give in. That's when you start to say, it's just one meal, and you start convincing yourself that, I'm good. I never do this. I never do these. I need to live a little. I need to, right? And that's when you kind of start, and having those cheat meals, right? Cheat meal every once in a while is okay, but if you're going to be gone for 5, 6, 7 days and every meal you're eating out, that's not good, right? So I like to have things on hand as quickly as possible that I can grab, right? Whether it's my chips, like I mentioned, the seaweed snacks, macadamia nuts, even a scoop of my sunflower butter, and get some raw cacao or 55, 65% cacao, little chocolate bars. We love those. Get a tablespoon of this, put one of those little piece of one of those chocolate bars in there. You've got a nice little healthy Reese's Pieces, right? So those are things that I think are tremendous. Find little snacks that you prefer. Make sure you travel with them. These are just a few examples. I travel with many. One more quick one I'll give you is bulletproof little protein bars, right? Or it can be any. It doesn't have to necessarily be bulletproof, but little protein bars that you can take with you that you can pop open, eat. That way it's, again, I don't like meal replacement, but in situations I'd rather have you eat that than eat Taco Bell or something, right? And I love Taco Bell, right? I'm not hating on Taco Bell, but processed fast foods are what we're talking about. They all go into the same category. So make sure you have something that is going to be preventing you from giving in to that little voice in your head that says, hey, it's okay, just go ahead and eat this a little bit, right? Next, what we like to do is when we arrive where we're going. So the first thing is, and let's go back to the beginning here, and we look for an Airbnb. One of the things that we're searching for is we're looking at the surrounding area, right? Are there stores that we like to shop at? Is there a Whole Foods? Is there some kind of a natural grocery store, right? Am I going to be in the middle of nowhere? Because I'll actually pay more, right? Even $5 to $10, $15 more a night if it's going to be closer to things that are more conducive to my health and well-being, right? So in this particular trip, we were right around the corner from 2 health food stores that, whether it was my supplementation, if I was running low on something, or if it were food, right? So a couple examples would be buy a big old thing of, this is actually from Aldi, we bought this big thing of ground turkey, and we bought 2 of these, right? So we can make a lot of different meals with that. So we've got organic frozen broccoli, right? Just throw it in the we got a freezer right here, throw it in there. So that's a great source. You could have many meals. Every lunch you have for your entire trip could just be meat and vegetables, right? Throw in some healthy fats. Maybe you've got some avocado, things of that nature that you're going to pick up as well. You can throw in there that are really good, healthy meals. You can actually, sometimes what we do also is we travel with Tupperware. So you make these meals, you take it with you, and that way if you're in a meeting or if you're traveling for business or you're on the road or something, you've got it right there with you and you can just snack on it as you go. Maybe you get some flaxseed or chia seed or something like that and bring it. Make sure you keep up with your good fiber intake. A lot of people on the road, they don't get enough fiber, so they find themselves experiencing constipation or disruptions with their bowel movements and what have you. Another thing is baby spinach, right? So organic baby spinach, another great vegetable you can bring. You can just throw in, you can saute it, especially if you've got pots and pans. Again, benefit of Airbnb, most of them are stocked and fully equipped to be able to cook things, right? So you're not just eating raw leaves like you feel like you're some kind of a animal or something at the zoo, right? So great things to have. Turkey bacon, right? So we'll grab this and I'll have this for breakfast. I'll buy a loaf of bread. So we can stock up right? And kind of time our stay with how much we're gonna need and buy maybe smaller items or what have you. That's kind of the kicker. That's the tricky part, is figuring out how much do I need for this specific trip. So it's good to have a grocery store that has options to be able to find, maybe I need a smaller portion. I don't need this big thing of turkey. Maybe I can get something a little bit smaller. With 2 of us, we'll go through this no problem, right? But you don't want to find yourself at the end buying $150 worth of groceries and throwing $75 worth of it away, all right? So, all right, a couple quick pro tips for you guys. I hope this was extremely helpful for you. It really comes down to planning, really comes down to figuring out what you're gonna need, planning things out, mapping it out, so on and so forth, and then again, really creating that environment that is very similar or as similar as possible to what you're accustomed to. But a quick pro tip for you is we also bring our water filter, right? So one thing you'll find is, in some of these places, you're just drinking tap water, or you're buying tons of bottled water, or you're not drinking enough water at all, right? So we like to go ahead and just pack this. This goes in my health bag or one of our health bags. Well, it's empty, obviously, we don't travel with water in it, but we'll bring it, and that way we can fill it up and use it on an as-needed basis. It's one of those things where you're sitting around your hotel room, maybe the hotel lobby has bottled water, but it probably costs $5 a bottle, right? So at least with the Airbnb, you can bring this, you stock in the refrigerator, you're good to go. You can filter your water. It's as clean as you can possibly make it. Again, conducive to what you're used to at home. All right, and another quick pro tip for you is, let's talk about your work schedule, okay? So one of the things, again, along in the same vein of keeping things consistent, one of the first things that I like to do is find an area that's going to be the designated work area. So this is something I've had to get accustomed to because my office is now from home. And it took me a long time to get used to a home office. I was used to working from an actual physical location. With my previous business, I had an office. I went there 6-7 days a week, right? So it's a little bit tough, a little bit harder to get adapted to crossing and blending those lines of work, personal space, right? So what I like to do, though, is create an area, right, where this is where I work, this is where we do personal stuff. If it's a vacation, leisurely trip, maybe you're going to be doing some work on the side. Okay, well then there's a desk in the corner, and that's where I do my work, right? Maybe you bring your headphones. I bring headphones, in that way if I need to tap into work mode, I listen to the exact same music that I listen to when I'm working at home, right? So those things, again, create the same environment. Maybe you carve out hours too that you're going to be working versus when you're going to be playing. So maybe you say, hey, before I go into the trip, I'm going to be there 5 days. These are the times I need to work. These are the times I'm going to enjoy myself. Right? So have a plan going into it. If you don't make plans, plans will be made for you. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Select an environment that's going to be conducive to you getting stuff done, and make sure you know specifically when you're planning to work, when you're not planning to work. Bring your planner. Stick with all the things you do at home, right? Make sure you plan out what you're going to accomplish. I would make sure that whatever your schedule looks like, I'd scale it back a little bit, right? So whatever you do at home in a full 8 to 9 hour workday, be mindful of the fact that you're probably not going to be as productive, right? So don't bury yourself and overload your schedule. Try to make it achievable. Try to make it condensed enough to where you're actually still moving the needle forward, right? Focus on those MITs, the most important things that need to be done, really those high impact areas that need to get done, so that when you come home, you don't feel overwhelmed and buried, that you're just playing catch up, right? And then you lose your next month because you're just, oh my God, there's so much stuff that I missed because I was gone for that 1 week out of the month, right? So whatever you can do, the core essentials, delegate some of the stuff away or push it so that you're still moving your business forward, you're still moving your life forward, even when you're on the road. All right, guys, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you liked it. Make sure you guys, again, like, subscribe. Drop me a comment below. What are some things you do when you travel to make sure you stay consistent, stay on track to become the high achiever that I know you are? Also, don't forget to check out my podcast, Entrepreneur Hour. If you're watching Entrepreneur Hour, maybe Entrepreneur Hour TV's here on the channel. Entrepreneur Hour podcast is also what we do with an audio experience if you want to check that out as well. Make sure you check all the links we included below for all the resources as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one.